Okay, we're continuing here on day 3. I'm on page 11 of 12, and we're working through some word problems. Again, you should pause and try to do each problem without the video, and only use the video to check if you get the wrong answer, if you're not sure how to do it, or if you want to go over it again. Okay, here I go. Now, questions 9 through 11 are based on the information below, so you're going to use this chart to answer numbers 9, 10, and 11. Farhana's produce company distributes to several restaurants. The table below shows how many cases of different produce each restaurant ordered from Farhana's company in July. Produce orders in July. Here it shows the different vegetables: asparagus, Boston lettuce, carrots, romaine lettuce, tomatoes. Be careful because there's two different lettuces here. And here are the restaurants, A, B, C, D, E, and this is how many, what, cases? How many cases of each thing they ordered, okay? Okay, number 9. If Boston lettuce costs $17 per case and romaine lettuce costs $23 per case, let me write that here. 17 for Boston, 23 for romaine. That's the price per case. How much did Restaurant D spend on lettuce ordered from Farhana in July? Okay, so we want Restaurant D, how much they spend on lettuce. So lettuce is the Boston lettuce and the romaine lettuce. So let's do the Boston lettuce. They got 2 of them in July. Restaurant D got 2 cases, and they were $17 each. So that's 2 times 17. That's what they spent on Boston lettuce. They also got romaine lettuce. They got 3 cases at 23. 3 times 23. And you're going to add these two together, right, to find all the lettuce. So let's work that out on our thing here. So where's my calculator? Okay, clear it. So let's do 2 times 17 equals 34. Now, how do I do this? Plus, I want 3 times 23. 3 times 23. Now, is it going to do it right, though? I don't know. Let's see what it put. Equals. I don't think that did it right. Well, 103 is one of the answers, so maybe they did do it right. 3, 2. Let's see that again. I want to see if that was right. 2 times 17 plus 3 times 23. Well, it did it right, 69. It got the right answer, 103. That worked doing it that way. I thought it might actually add 3 to 2 times 17. It did at the beginning, but then when I put the multiplying, it did multiply first. It did this multiplication, and then, oh, you can't even see. It did this multiplication and then added it to this multiplication. So that worked out okay. It knew how to do, which one to do first. Very good, 103. Okay, let's try number 10 then. Here we go. Delivery costs $2 per case for the first 5 cases and $1 per case for each additional case of produce. What was Restaurant B's delivery charge in July? Okay, so Restaurant B, here's all the cases it got. 4 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 1. You can use your calculator, but if you know how to add, 4 and 4 is 8, and 2 is 10, and 2 is 12, and 1 is 13. So it got 13 cases, right? Now it was $2 a case for the first 5. So if it paid 2 for each of the first 5, 5 times 2 is $10. It paid $10. How many more cases did it get? Now, that was for the first 5. We got 13 cases altogether, so we're going to subtract 5. 13 minus 5. You can do it on your calculator, but if you know your subtraction, it equals 8. So the first 5 cases cost $10. But then the other 8 cases each cost $1, so that would be $8 more. 10 and 8 altogether, $18. Watch again how we did that. It said $2 for the first 5 cases. First, we figured out how many cases that they got at restaurant B. We added them up. 4 and 4 is 8, and 2 is 10, and 2 is 12, and 1 is 13. Right? So we got 13 cases. We subtract the first 5 because the first 5 you had to pay $2 each. So they paid $10 for the first 5. The other 8 they each paid $1 for it. 10 plus 8 is 18. And number 11, if asparagus costs $22 per case and tomatoes cost $15 per case, which of the following restaurants spent the most on asparagus and tomatoes combined? Ay, ay, ay. So, asparagus and tomatoes. So, asparagus cost the most, right? Which got the most asparagus? Restaurant B. Let's see now. Restaurant B got 4 asparagus. What was the other one? Tomatoes. And only 1 tomato. Now, so they're probably the most because they had to get 4 cases that cost 22. Who else got a lot of cases? Restaurant E. Is that one of the answers? Restaurant E isn't even there. So that one probably isn't right. I mean, that one definitely isn't right. It's not even there. So it's got to be one of these. Restaurant B got the most asparagus, and they're the most expensive. I'm not even going to bother figuring it out. Restaurant B got the most, I bet. Let's see. Restaurant A had 2 asparagus. They had 3 tomatoes. They had 2 more tomatoes, but they had 2 more asparagus, so they got more. Theirs cost more, Restaurant B. And Restaurant C, they didn't have any asparagus. There's no way. Even though they had 3 tomatoes, there's no way. So Restaurant B definitely had the most because it had the most asparagus, the more expensive one. C and D and A only had 2 at the most. Okay, anyway, moving on. At a certain store, loose leaf paper comes only in packages of 400 sheets. If a student buys enough paper at the store to fill 3 binders with 150 sheets of paper in each, how many sheets will be left over? So he or she wants to fill 3 binders, 150 sheets in each one. So that's 150 and 150 and 150. Or you could do 3 times 150. I'll do the multiplying. You see it good? 3 times 150 equals 450. So I need 450 pieces of paper. If I buy 1 package, I have 400. I don't have enough, do I? So I have to get 2 packages. 2 packages is what? 800. And I put how much in each one? How much did I use? 450 to fill those 3. So the leftover will be when you what? Subtract 800. By the way, if you can do this without using a calculator, do it. I just use the calculator because I know a lot of people are going to want to use a calculator. Minus 450 equals 350. Easy math. I don't use a calculator at all. I almost never use a calculator. 350. That's how many are left over. Because you had to buy 2 packages. You want the leftover. 350 left over from the package that you're not going to put in the binder. Okay, moving on. The Navarro family The Navarro family uses an average of 225 gallons a week per day. 5 gallons a week goes through the water filter. The Navarro's water filter can process 450 gallons before it needs to be replaced. After how many days of average water use will they need to replace the filter? That doesn't make much sense here. Let's see. They use an average of 225 gallons of water per day, 5 gallons of which goes through the filter. So we're really interested in this 5 gallons, the part that goes through the filter. The other water doesn't go through the filter. Maybe it goes through their shower or washing clothes, okay? This is probably the drinking water. The Navarro's water filter can process 450 gallons before it needs to be replaced. After how many days of average water use will they need to replace the filter? So we don't want this number 225. We want this number. 5 gallons that the water filter processes each day, and it can process 450. So we want to know how many fives there are in 450. That's a division problem. 450 divided by, you start with that number first, 450, and you divide it by 5. That means how many fives are there in 450? Equals 90. Is that one of the answers? Well, they don't have multiple choice. 90 days. Again, you can go and check in the back. What number is this? Number 13. Word problems. 90 is correct. Okay. Moving on. Number 14. Can't see here. Sumaya knits gloves and hats each winter and sells them at a local shop. If Sumaya received $189 from the sale of her hats and gloves this past winter, and she spent $27 on yarn, how much money did she earn from her knitting? Well, she received money when people paid her, $189. But remember, she had to spend $27 on the yarn to make those things. So should you add that 27 or subtract it to find out how much profit she made? You subtract it. You want 189 minus the 27 because you have to subtract the money you paid for the yarn. That's how much money you got, but you had to spend money first to get the yarn. So we're going to subtract that. If you put it in your calculator, 189 minus 27. I'm going to subtract this way. 9 take away 7 is 2. 8 take away 2 is 6. 1 take away nothing is 1. $162 profit. Right? Moving on. 3 friends are baking cupcakes for a bake sale. Each batch of 24 cupcakes requires 2 cups of flour. The friends have a single 5-pound bag of flour that contains 19 cups of flour. How many whole batches of cupcakes can they bake? Okay, let's see. We need 2 cups of flour to make 24 cakes. How many batches? Batches, wow. What's a batch? A batch is 24 cakes. So one batch uses 2 cups of flour. The friends have a single 5-pound bag that contains 19 cups of flour. How many whole batches? Now that's the key thing here. Whole batches of cupcakes. So each batch they use 2 cups, and there's 19 cups. So you want to know how many times they can take 2 cups out of the 19 cups. You want to know how many 2s are in 19. That's division. It's 19 divided by 2. Now, watch what happens when you do this, though. You might already know the answer, but I'm going to do it anyway. Here we go. 19, can you see? 19 divided by 2 equals 9.5. But they asked how many whole batches. That means they can do 9 whole batches, but they'll have 1 cup of flour left over. You're not going to do anything with that cup of flour. We only want whole batches. So the answer is going to be 9. They can make 9 batches because each batch uses 2 cups and there's 19 cups in the bag, right? Now they put in some other numbers you didn't need. You didn't need the 3. You didn't need the 24 cupcakes. We didn't need that there were 3 friends. We didn't even need to know the 5-pound bag of flour. They have a single. That means they have 1 bag. Good. So they have 1 bag. That's not important. The important thing was just the 19 and the 2. Every batch takes 2 cups, and they have 19 cups. So 9 batches means 9 times 2 is 18. They'd have a cup left over. Good. Number 16. 331 students went on a field trip. 6 buses were filled, and 7 students traveled in cars. How many students were in each bus? Okay, 331 went on the trip. 7 went in cars. The rest went in buses. Okay, what should we do first? Let's see how many went on the buses. 331 went, but 7 traveled in cars. So what should we do? Subtract the 7 to find out how many went in buses. You can use your calculator. You would get 324. Now you know that 324 kids went on the buses, right? We want to know, I don't know if this is going to come out good, but we want to know how many, there were 6 buses. We want to know how many were on each bus, and they were filled, and they all held the same. So we take the 324 kids, and we are going to divide by 6 to see how many on each bus. Can you see it? It's hard to see a calculator on this. 324 divided by 6 equals 54. Where was I? 54 students. 54 students on each bus. By the way, you know, the HiSET test, it's all multiple choice. You don't have to worry about writing down answers. All of them are multiple choice. Aliyah had $24 to spend on 7 pencils. After buying them, she had $10. How much did each pencil cost? Well, how much money did she spend on the pencils? She had $24. When she was done, she had $10 left. So 24, take away what she has left, that should tell you how much she spent. 24 take away 10 on your calculator or in your head is $14. Okay, she spent $14 on and bought 7 pencils. 7 pencils cost $14. They're expensive pencils. How do you find out how much each pencil costs? 14 divided by 7. 1/4 divided by 7 equals $2. $2 equal to $2 on each pencil. I'll put it over here. $2. See how she got that? She had 24. When she was done, she had 10 left. 24 take away 10 means she spent $14. She got 7 pencils. That means each pencil costs $2 because 7 times 2 is 14. Or 14 divided by 7 equals 2. Okay, number 18. You bought a magazine for $5 and 4 erasers. You spent a total of $25. How much did each eraser cost? Okay, you got a magazine for $5 and you spend a total of $25. So, how do you find out how much you spent on erasers? You subtract the magazine. 25, take away 5. That tells you how much you spent on the erasers. 25 minus 5 is $20. Okay, you spent $20 on the erasers and you got 4 of them. How do you find out how much each one costs? Well, you could say 4 times what price equals 20. Or you could say 20 divided by 4 equals what? 20 divided into 4, price 4. 20 divided by 4 equals $5 an eraser. Boy, those are expensive erasers. I'm not going to this store anymore. $5. Very expensive place. Number 19, Maria bought 7 boxes. A week later, half her boxes were destroyed. How's that possible? How could you just get half of 7? Oh, she bought 7. A week later, half her boxes were destroyed. So she had some in the beginning. They didn't tell us that. She had some in the beginning. Then she bought 7 more, and then a week later, half were destroyed. There are now 22 boxes left. How many did she start? Well, it didn't say she had some to start, but she did. Okay, this is one of those problems where you kind of work backwards to find the answer. In the end, she had 22. That was after half of her boxes were destroyed. So you got to go backwards in time. How many were there before they were destroyed? If half are destroyed and 22 are left, that means that 22 were destroyed, right? Because half were destroyed and 22 are left. That means 22 must have been destroyed because 22 is half of 22 and 22. So what's 22 and 22? 44. So she had 44, right? And then half were destroyed, so now she has 22. That makes sense. But when they were destroyed, she had 44. That was after she bought 7. She had just bought 7. So if we want to know how many she had before she bought the 7, we have to subtract 7. 44 is what she had when they were destroyed. Before that, she had bought 7. So let's take away the 7 she bought. And that's where you start. 44, take away 7. If you use your, I'm way down here. 44, take away 7. If you use your calculator, you'll get 37. That's what she started with. Let's see if that's right. Let's read it now. So she starts with 37. She buys 7. 7 and 37 makes 44. She's got 44 boxes. A week later, half our boxes were destroyed. Half of 44 is 22. So 22 were destroyed and 22 were left. That makes sense. Got it? Moving on. How about this one? Summerlee won 40 bouncy balls at game night. She gave 2 to each of her friends and has 8 left. How many friends does she have? Okay, this one worked backwards again. She's got 8 left. How many did she give away then? She had 40 and she only has 8 left. How many did she give away? Well, you take away, and that'll tell you what she gave away. 40 minus 8. If you add, you'll end up with 48. How could she give away 48? She only had 40 bouncy balls. You have to subtract. 40, take away 8. 32. You can use your calculator, or you can know how to do it. Okay, she gave 2 to each of her friends. So she gave away 32, and she gave 2 to each of her friends. How many 2s are in 32? That's division. 32 divided by 2. 32 divided by 2 equals 16. That's how many friends she must have. Let's see if that makes sense. She won 42 bouncy balls. She gave 2 to each of her friends. 2 times 16 is 32. She gave away 32. 40 minus 32 makes 8. Yep, it works out. Imani spent half of her allowance. To earn more money, she washed the car for $4. What's her allowance if she ended up with $12? Again, you're going to work backwards. She ended up with 12. And that was after she washed the car and got $4. So before she had the 12, you got to take away the 4 that she got for washing the car. 12 minus 4. She had $8 before she washed the car, right? That was after she had spent half of her allowance. If she spent half her allowance and ended up and had $8, That means she spent $8. What's 8 and 8? 16. Her allowance must be $16. Now let's work forward and see if that's right. 16 is her allowance. She spends half. She spends 8. She's got 8 left. Then she washed the car and got 4. 8 and 4 more. 9, 10, 11, 12. She has $12. Yep, it works. Aaliyah had candy to give to her 4 kids. Hey, there's Aaliyah back on number 17. Also, they like that name. Aaliyah had candy to give to her 4 kids. She kept 10 pieces and then evenly divided the rest among the kids. Each child has got 2 pieces. How many pieces did she start with? Wow. She kept 10 pieces and then evenly divided the rest amongst her kids. Okay, let's see. Each child got 2 kids. How many kids does she have? 4 kids. And each child she got 2. So she gave 4 times 2. She gave away 8 candies at the end. She gave them 8 candies. And she kept 10 pieces before she gave away 8. She kept 10 and gave away 8. What do? You add them together. She kept 10 and she gave her kids 8. 8 and 10 is 18. How many pieces did she start? 18. Let's see if that makes sense. She had 18. She kept 10 and then evenly divided the rest. That left 8 left. She took the 8 and divided amongst her 4 kids, and they each got 2. Yep, that works. 18. Moving on. Gotta find another page here. We have a few more to do, right? I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to do all these. I guess we should have enough time. Here we go. Number 23. Jill sold half of her comic books and then bought 16 more. She now has 36. With how many did she begin? Okay, she sold half her comic books and then bought 16 more. She now has 36. Okay, this is another work backwards problem. So at the end, she had 36, right? What happened before then? She bought 16 more. So what did she have? If she bought 16 and now is 36, what do? Let's go back through time. Let's take away the 16 she bought. 36. Take away the 16 she bought. 36, if you use your calculator, 36 minus 16 is equal to 20. So she had 20, and then she bought 16 more and had 36. Okay, so she had 20. Jill sold half her comic books and then bought 16 more. So she had 20 after she sold half. If she sold half, that means she sold 20. She sold 20 and had 20 left. How much did she start with? 20 plus 20 is 40. Let's take a quick look and see. 23, 40. It's way down there. I don't know if you can see it. But we got it right, 40. Okay, moving on. For a field trip, 4 students rode in cars and the rest filled 9 buses. How many students were in each bus if 472 students were on the trip? That's like that other one we did. Okay, we want to know how many were on each bus. First of all, we got to remember that 4 students rode in cars. So we're going to take away those 4 kids. 472 total students minus the 4 kids equals 468. Now, that 468 students rode on 9 buses. So how do we find out how much were on each bus if it was the same amount? You divide by 9. 468 divided by 9. If you put that in your calculator, 468 divided by 9 equals 52. You can't even see the calculator. It's too bright. Anyway, it comes out 52 if you did your calculator right. 52. See how we did that? We subtracted the students in cars. The rest were on the buses. and we divide it by 9 to fill the 9 buses. It has to be a number around 50. That's how many go on a bus. On Tuesday, Shanice bought 5 hats. On Wednesday, half of all the hats she had were destroyed. On Thursday, there were only 17 left. How many did she have on Monday? This is the same as Wednesday. It didn't say anything happened, so whatever you had on Wednesday, that's what you had on Thursday, I guess. Okay, she had 17 left. That was after half were destroyed. She has 17 left. So you have to do 2 times 17 to find out how many there were before some were destroyed. If you use your calculator, 2 times 17 is 34. So she had 34 left, and then half of them were destroyed, and that left her with 17. She bought 6 hats. Before she had 34, she then bought 6 hats. That brought her up to 34. How can you find out what she had? Well, it had to be less than 34. You subtract. 34, take away the 5. That'll tell you how many hats she had before half of them were destroyed. 34 take away 5 is 29 hats. Now, check it out. 29 hats. She buys 5 more. That's 34. Half are destroyed. That's 17. And there we are. That worked out. Okay? Number 26. The cooking club made some pies to sell at a basketball game to raise money for the new math books. The cafeteria contributed 4 pies to the sale. Each pie was then cut into 5 pieces and sold. There were a total of 60 pieces to sell. How many pies did the club make? Okay. The cafeteria did 4 pies, and each pie was cut into 5 pieces. So 4 times 5 tells you how many pieces the cafeteria made. 4 times 5 equals 20 pieces. So the cafeteria made 20 pieces of pie. Okay? How many did the cooking club make? Well, altogether 60 pieces were there to sell, and the cafeteria made 20. So we're going to subtract what the cafeteria made. 60 minus 20 is 40. 40 is how much the cooking club made. But it asked for how many pies. Well, each pie makes 5 pieces. Now we know there's 40 pieces that the cooking club had to make. And each pie makes 5 pieces. So we want to know how many 5s there are in 40. 40 divided by 5. 40 divided by 5 equals 8. 8 pies. Okay? Again, there were 60 pieces to sell altogether. The cafeteria did 4 pies, 5 pieces each. 4 times 5 is 20. So you take this 60 and you subtract 20. That means the cooking club had to come up with 40 pieces. 5 goes into 48 times. That means they had to bake 8 pies. Last one. Brandon is planting his part of the local community garden. He has calculated that he can plant 6 seedlings per row, and the garden allots 7 rows to each gardener. What is the maximum number of seedlings Brandon could plant? He's got 6 seedlings in each row and 7 rows. So there's seedlings like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's where he's going to plant his seedlings. And there's 7 of these rows. There's 7 6s. What kind of problem is that? Multiplying. 7 times 6 equals, if you know your multiplication tables, it's 42. If you don't, you're going to use your calculator anyway. Okay? 7 times 6 is 42. I think that's all we need. 42 seedlings. I think that we did that right. It sounds simple enough. There are 6 seedlings per row, and a garden holds 7 rows. So it's got 7 times 6, 42. There we are. That's it. How many of those did you get right? Did you do pretty well? You can always do them over until you're really sure you understand how to do these word problems. Remember, you get better and better and better just by doing them. Just by practicing word problems, you're going to be getting better and better. So you got to do the work, but the outcome is really good. It'll really make you better at solving word problems, so you can pass that test. That's it for now. I'll see you later with day 4.